Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 6-game NBA main slate on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if this is your first time watching, welcome. My name is DK. I make content for Prize Picks, for NBA Top Shot, for NFL All Day, and for daily fantasy sports. If you guys are interested in premium content, more in-depth for daily fantasy sports, I offer that on patreon.com, where I give player polls. The most important definitely is the private live stream every day before lock, where we really hammer home game theory. But I roster construction videos as well. Also have content for the SHOWDOWNS slates. A lot of stuff. Again, if that's something that interests you, more info down below. I also have a Discord. We have a great group of guys. Super helpful. A lot of very knowledgeable and very sharp guys in there. Let's see, what else? If you're unable to watch these videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. The link is down below. And the sponsor is Prize Picks, which I'm sure a lot of you have heard by now. But yeah, Prize Picks is a player prop site where there's a ton of different ways you can play for NBA. Basically, you can take over under on anything: points, assist, rebounds, three-pointers made, points, rebounds, and assists. They'll have fantasy score as well, but usually they don't have that until like tomorrow morning. They also have NBA futures. They have NBA first half contests. There's 11 a.m. Detroit Boston game, which don't think you could pay me to watch that. But and then esports, again, basically every single sport you can think of. You can also mix and match sports. So how it works is you pick 2 up to 5 player props, and you win up to 10x your money. So if you guys want to give it a try, you can sign up. Use my code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. All right, so let's take a look back lineup here from tonight. So tonight I missed, I don't have a lot of regrets. I went to Big Zubac, who got in some foul trouble, and then they did not close with him, which I knew that was a risk. So again, I'm not really mad about that one. The Raptors got absolutely destroyed. Luka Doncic got in foul trouble. He only missed I think 3 or 4 minutes, but that's huge for Luka, right? Missing those minutes is massive. If he doesn't miss those minutes, he's going for at least 55, probably closer to that 60 mark. So, again, random foul trouble. What can you do there? But yeah, I went to Gafford, who actually did really well. That game went to double overtime too. A lot of games went to overtime that I didn't have much exposure to. Carter Jr. Was solid. I did like that Houston-Orlando game. Booker and Cam Johnson as chalk are both solid, and then Lonnie Walker did get lucky. He was one guy that did play in the overtime, because Gafford, I don't even know if he played any minutes in the overtime session. I wasn't really following the games, but yeah, guys, that will wrap it up for the look back. In high stakes, there was a ton, and I mean a ton of landmines, high-owned players that were massive busts. Let's see. Wow, this is crazy. Patrick Beverley went for 9 fantasy points. He's been so consistent. Again, Minnesota got absolutely destroyed by Harden and Embiid. Mo Bamba was massive chalk, almost 50%. This is a $3,000 entry, 16 fantasy points. Bust. LeBron James, very popular, 40%. Surprisingly, a bust against the Clippers with no AD. That did surprise me. Jalen Suggs is very popular, 32%. 3 fantasy points. So, even though I had a couple of misses in my lineup, there were some massive busts here. So, yeah, guys, that was it for look back. Oh, and then the winning lineup. This is the winning lineup. Let's see. Shea, who I thought was a little bit overowned. I liked him as a cash play, more of an optimal play. I thought he's a little bit overowned in tournaments. Of course, that game goes to overtime. So, again, just a tilting night with the overtimes. Enough of the overtimes. I feel like I just never get good luck with games going to OT. Chuma Okeke went for 53. I just saw that for the first time. That's a little bit unreal. You could have made the argument that Okeke was an okay contrarian value play, but 53 fantasy points, come on. That is just insane. Keldon Johnson, again, everyone in San Antonio, Washington went off because they played 83 minutes. Wood, Booker, Isaiah Jackson, and Isaiah Roby. All right, so let's start off with Toronto, who got absolutely destroyed tonight, but doesn't change one bit about how I feel about them here against Atlanta. I like them again. Great matchup here, and I have no concerns. Don't even care. You have to have short-term memory. Who cares what happened tonight, right? They got absolutely destroyed. Could care less. So the main Toronto guys look pretty good here against Atlanta, who plays very little defense. Now, one thing to mention was it was it Siakam they said was a little bit under the weather? I have to look. One of Siakam or Van Fleet I saw, they said he was a little bit under the weather, but so we'll keep an eye on that. But assuming that like, both the main Toronto guys are full go, they're in a great matchup here. I think I prefer Siakam to Van Fleet, but both look pretty good. Gary Trent Jr. obviously has the ceiling. We know it's a floor, though, because he becomes a little bit more scoring dependent when Van Fleet is out there. He's not going to do much of the ball handling. Scotty Barnes had a really good game, but it's like a lot of that was in the blowout. So, like, he surprisingly played up until, like, I think like 3 or 4 minutes left in that game. So, like, I do think he's a fair play in the mid-range, like a solid option, but don't expect 40 fantasy points again from him. And then, like I said, this grouping of Birch, Thad Young, Achua, and Boucher will get some minutes. You know, all these guys are probably going to hover in that 15 to 20-minute range, but none of them really stand out. On the Atlanta side, so Trae Young, like I said, got to have short-term memory. He was a massive bust last slate just because he could not hit the broadside of a barn. Like 3 of 17, really, when I finally buy into Trae Young. But, yeah, obviously we know the ceiling's there, and without John Collins, the usage does go up for Trae. So even though Toronto's known for as a better defensive team, still has some interest in Trae. Now, Capella, they finally bumped his price to 6.6, which I feel like this is about right without John Collins. He'll play about 30 minutes. Still has a ceiling at this price point, but he feels more priced appropriately than when he was like 5.2K. We also got a price bump for Bogdanovich and Gallinari. Now, be careful here. Sorry, I can't talk. DeAndre Hunter left that game due to an illness, only played 13 minutes. So you're not going to see as much run for Gallinari, who played a good amount last game. He played 35 minutes. Right? A lot of those minutes are going to go to Hunter. So be cautious here with Gallo. I think he will be a little bit over-owned. I think Hunter is the guy that looks better point per dollar of these two wings because he's cheaper. Bogdanovich is 6-1. I mean, he's been playing very, very well over the last couple of weeks. The price is up, but I still think he's in play for GPPs. Memphis and Chicago. So I'm actually going to be at this game, and I'm really hoping Ja plays because he left that last game for a bit, went to the locker room with a hip injury. Now he's not on the injury report. They don't have him listed as questionable. So assuming he's full go, I mean, I do think he makes one of the better spend up. Chicago plays very little defense, and Ja's going to play huge minutes. Like, he had an awful shooting game last game, shot 7 of 25, still went for 40 fantasy points. So I do think Ja looks pretty good. The secondary options, like Bane and Triple J, do have upside, but they also have shown a floor too. Like, if you're just looking at the last 5 games for Triple J, he has 40 in 3 of the last 5. He also has a 16 and a 21 in there. So, again, and obviously the foul risk with Jaren Jackson Jr. as well. Desmond Bane, a little bit up and down as well, right? 33, 46, 26, 42, and 19 fantasy points. So I do have interest in these secondary plays. I think they're more GPP plays, though, for me. And then Steven Adams, he should play probably 25 to 30 minutes. He's been playing pretty well of late also, and this is a good matchup, like I said, against Chicago. Vucevic is not a very good defender. Not like they're going to post up Steven Adams. So he's a guy that can probably get you close to a double-double, good rebounder. So I think he's a relatively safe play in the mid-range. I do prefer Adams to Clark, even though Clark will get the backup 5 run. That's probably it for me on the Memphis side. Moving on to Chicago, even though I like the matchup a lot, there's not much that stands out for me with players and the prices, right? DeRozan and Vooch were priced up big time when Levine was out. Levine is now back. So, like, the big 3, no one really stands out. I mean, DeRozan's been their best player, and he's been playing extremely well. But do I want to pay $10.5K for DeRozan? Not really. Kobe White and Io feel too pricey too with Levine back, so there's really not a lot that I'm interested in on the Chicago side. Washington and Cleveland. So my boy Kyle Kuzma went off. He played 46 minutes as the double overtime. Now he gets Cleveland, who has actually been a good defensive team. And like I said, back-to-back, plus he just played massive minutes. I'm a little bit concerned about Kuzma. I'm a little bit concerned about everyone on this Washington team. All right, can we talk about Denny? They have played 78 minutes, I guess. No, but DraftKings has some of these guys' minutes wrong. I think it was Denny I saw. I think Thomas Bryant, even though he didn't even play, they had him listed at 44 minutes. So Yeah, some wild stuff here with Draftkings in minutes. Again, Denny did not play 78 minutes. I don't think there's anything else that really stands out for me on the Washington side. Again, a lot of these guys played big. Oh, I guess, so Gafford, if he starts. Gafford would be the guy that I would like if he starts again. Now, Cleveland, this is a big front court, and Gafford's not a bad point per minute guy. If we're going to get like 20-ish minutes from Gafford at a 3.1K price point, I think he is my favorite play on the Washington side. Moving on to Cleveland. So, no Garland, no LeVert, and now no Rondo. So, going to be interesting to see who they start at the point guard. I would guess it's going to be Brandon Goodwin. I do think Cedi Osman gets more run as well. Now, as far as the bigs go, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. This has been like just the big question mark all year of like, which one of these Cleveland bigs is going to have a good game? And they just kind of rotate. Like, all three of them have a ceiling in Allen, Mobley, and Love, but all three have shown a floor too. So, like, I like the matchup for these guys. I think the minutes are way more secure, obviously, in Allen and Mobley than Love. The issue with Kevin Love is the minutes, right? There's some games he plays closer to 30 minutes. Last game he played 17. So, like, he's always someone I'm interested in tournaments because he's a pretty good point per minute guy. And games when he plays more, he can really smash. So, like, again, all three bigs are in play, but good luck trying to figure out who it's going to be that has, like, the really big night. Lauri Markkanen probably plays around 30 minutes. It kind of took it easy, the old minutes monitored quote, but I think he's a fair play in the mid-range. And then, yeah, Goodwin, if he starts, I do think makes for one of the better values going up against Washington. Pretty good matchup here. I would think he plays over 30 minutes, so I like Goodwin. I also think there's more minutes for Cedi Osman. He played 20 last game, so those two look good, but obviously would prioritize whoever starts at the point guard position. And then Okoro at 3-8, like he's a low usage guy, but he'll play around 30 minutes. He's playable for value, but he still has a pretty low floor. San Antonio, Miami, another team I'm kind of worried about here. San Antonio, right, they just played the double overtime game, and now they're going on the road against Miami. So, like, not much I'm liking here on the San Antonio side. It's an awful matchup. I know, like, a lot of these guys have really good games because they played, like, 50 minutes tonight. So, you know, be careful with some of these guys. I will say probably my favorite play on San Antonio is Lonnie Walker, who had listed 76 minutes last game, but I think he's going to play 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. I think he's probably a value play that you can look to, but yeah, not a lot that I love here. Also, you saw Zach Collins got injured. You know, Richardson and Primo have been out, but not much I'm really liking the San Antonio side and the Miami side, so it is a good matchup. I think the main four guys look decent here, and Jimmy, Bam, Lowry, and Hero. Now, obviously, you do have some blowout risk, but, like, the main four all look pretty good. I don't know if there's one that stands out more than the other to me. Value-wise, not much that I'm liking. I mean, Dedmon is out, so your GOAT 7 will get the backup 5 run, and if this game blows out, which is possible, right, he will get extended. So, kind of intrigued by him as a large field tournament play, but that's really it for Miami. Brooklyn and Milwaukee. So, still no KD, still no Simmons, but Kyrie is back. Now, this Brooklyn team has been pretty bad. So, there is some blowout risk going on the road at Milwaukee. But if the Nets want to keep this game competitive, you're probably going to see a pretty big game from Kyrie. So, I do like him a decent amount for tournaments. I think he's going to play close to 40 minutes. And he's going to have to do everything for this team. As far as the other guards go, it's a little bit hard to get to these guys with Kyrie back. So, the likes of like Seth Curry and Cam Thomas and Bruce Brown and Patty Mills, hard to get to those guys. Drummond at 6'3" is fine for tournaments. His minutes have not been great. He's been hovering around 20 minutes. He can still get it done in that time because we know he's a very good point per minute guy. But I do think Aldridge is easier to get to at 4'7", who probably plays somewhere around 20-ish minutes, possibly more if he closes, which he had closed in 2 last year games besides the last game, which was a blowout. And then James Johnson, who I like a decent amount here for value at 4-1. He got in massive foul trouble last game and still played 29 minutes. If he continues to start, I think he's a good value. Now, the concern is, who is he going to be matched up on the other end? Well, he was just in foul trouble, and now he gets to go up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, one of the players who was amazing at drawing fouls. So, you know, there is some foul trouble risk there for a guy like James Johnson. And then Goran Dragic. So, like, I have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. But right now, listed as the backup point guard, Dragic is a good point guard guy, but I'm just going to say he's in play for tournaments. I don't know how many minutes he can play. They also have a lot of guards, right, too. So there is definitely some risk going to a guy like Dragic. On the Milwaukee side, so like I said, there is some blowout risk here, but I think Giannis Antetokounmpo, if you think the Nets can keep this game close, he looks great at the top. going to play 35 plus minutes, and the Nets are just playing no defense right now. Secondary options and Drew, Middleton, and Portis all look fine to me. They're more, again, secondary plays, though. We do have Grayson Allen back. He's always playable, but he has to hit shots to get value. Serge Ibaka playing around 20 minutes. Probably can do better. And not much else here I'm looking to on the Milwaukee side. All right, last game, Sacramento and Denver. So Sabonis at 9-4. If you think this game can stay competitive, I think he's a pretty good GPP play. He just went off last game in the same matchup. But again, there is some blowout risk here now going on the road. But we did see big minutes for Sabonis. I do like him a good amount there for tournaments. I think Fox is also a pretty solid GPP play. He had a bad game last game, but again, this offense is going to be Sabonis and it's going to be Fox. Not much else I'm liking, though, on Sacramento. Barnes, Mitchell, the value, nothing really stands out. So it's mainly the main guys. And finally, Denver. So I think Nikola Jokic, same thing. If you think the Kings can keep this game close, I think he looks amazing. I mean, right now, he's just doing everything for the team. Phenomenal matchup. Sabonis, great in the offensive end, not a good defender. So Jokic looks really good. I think the secondary plays in Barton, Gordon, and Morris all look like pretty good options, too. You should see, low to mid 30s for Barton and Gordon. We probably see around 30 minutes for Monte Morris. Other options for Denver, I mean, Boogie Cousins. So, okay, the contract dispute, I was going to say, he's off the injury report. So I'm guessing he's going to play the backup 5. Let's just see. They have him still listed as the backup 5. I'm curious for Denver. He missed the last game due to contract issues. So, they actually don't. They have the Greens listed in front of them. So, like, if you think that DeMarcus Cousins will continue to get the backup 5 run, then you can go to him at the flat min price. But obviously, you have both Jeff Green and JaMychal Green, who are guys that can get minutes as well. But yeah, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for the video today. So, again, if you have been enjoying the content, just make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Really appreciate you guys checking out the videos every single day, commenting in the comment section. Really, again, appreciate all you guys. So thanks again. And I will see you all in the next one.